If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
And if I have faith that can move mountains, but not love, I am nothing. So hello, my name is Madison Schueler, and most of you probably see me around. I come to chapel pretty much every Thursday. I'm a chapel steward of community here in the UIndy office. And I'm also a junior in the elementary education program with a minor in modern invention and reading. So what that pretty much means is I have a mental breakdown about once a week. And I'm a hot mess, probably like most of us say. And most of the time I can never get my life together, which is pretty much the college life. So yay, living the dream. But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. So on that note, I would just like to pray over, because it's really important. It sets the tone for the night and our evening. And so if you all bow your heads with me, I would love to pray. Dear Heavenly Father, be with us in the holy place. Help us find peace in the chaos. You know each of us, whether that be our trials and our struggles or our hopes and our dreams. Some of us have continued to be tested mentally and emotionally. We need all the loving guidance you can give us. Please continue to bless all these beautiful and amazing people in this room as we worship you. In your name, amen. So, I decided to get, joining in the festivities, and it was definitely requested that I explain the thing. So these are definitely not double ears. I definitely would not do that in this holy place. So don't assume I wear some double ears. So it's supposed to be Maleficent, because that's my nickname. And so this recent spring break, I went on the ASD trip with David and them. And it was one of the days we were like painting and all that, and me and Aubrey were on one side of the house doing whatever. And Kiera White tried to call from us from the other side of the house. She goes, Aubrey, Maleficent. And I was like, Maleficent? I was like, Madison? She goes, yeah, that's what I meant. I was like, if you're trying to say something, go ahead. So yeah, I'm not the devil, I'm the queen. So, just saying, she's a queen. So on the screen we were supposed to have it was supposed to say love does message. And on the next slide it was supposed to be a video, because my family couldn't be here tonight. So I was really upset about that, but they live like 3 hours away and it's just kind of hard to get away. And so my inspiration was to have a video, because who wants to waste a perfectly good technology and education course that I had to take my freshman year? And I learned a lot of good stuff, so my family is really important to me, so I wanted to share that with you, because how can I expect you to be honest and vulnerable if I'm not? And my family is so important to me that that's a vulnerability part for me. And so pretty much the video, my mom, my stepdad Kevin, my mom and papa, my adorable nephew, who's has my whole heart. I wish I could show you the video, because he's so adorable. And then my four siblings. So I'm just gonna name off the ages of all of us. My brother is 20. I'm 21. 2 sisters are 18. So Bree and Emily, and my other sister's 17. So you can tell when we were all definitely some teenagers, our house was interesting. A lot of arguments, a lot of slam doors, and a lot of walking out and taking walks. So, and then also at the end of the video, my sister Emily and her boyfriend were supposed to be expecting. I was going to be an aunt again, but yesterday I got the news that my sister had miscarriage and lost a baby, so my family's dealing with that too right now. So just keep them in your prayers. My sister's taken it pretty rough and been really sick from it, so yeah. So I wanted to make sure I had a had a little forewarning before we get to message, because I will circle the airport many times, but I promise I will eventually land. My friends know this about me, and I've really struggled with confidence about talking in front of people, because I've been told many times that I either talk too much, I talk too fast, and that I need to work on it. And I've worked on it, I swear, I do. I'm literally going to be an elementary teacher. I've done lessons in front of kids, and I'm fine. It's people who who can judge me easier that it gets harder for me to talk. And so when I was asked to speak, I told myself this is what I needed. It's what I wanted. That this opportunity was probably never going to happen again if I didn't do it now. And so tonight's message, if you can relate to it, or even just find inspiration to love others or yourself, then that's all that matters to me tonight. I just want you to find something. To me, it's like teaching. So in lesson yesterday, I literally asked my students, what is something that you've learned today? And most of them were like, oh, I learned to count this or whatever, and I was like, okay, you literally just, okay, you learn that. But this one student, he's a special needs student, and I've been working with him, and one of the girls was really terrible to him yesterday, saying you need to hurry up, you're wasting our time, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, that's not. But one thing that he learned that day when I corrected her and was like, no, that's not how we treat others. He goes, what he learned, he goes, sometimes it's going to be hard, but you need to try your best. And I was like, you're right, buddy. You're right. You just taught me something. I literally added this tonight because I was like, it needs to be said that no matter what, you need to try your best at loving others, loving yourself. And so my message was going to be love does. It was going to be on the screen so you see, but so what do you think when you hear love does? What does love do for you? So I know there's a lot of people who believe that love is really just not real, or that the word is just overused. And I mean, I could agree with them, but I've also seen the power that God gives the word love. God shows us that love is just not a word or a feeling. It's the action to love yourself and others. God is love. And if God is love, if we take the word away from the verses that we were read tonight, God is patient, God is kind, God protects, He gives us trust, hope, and God always perseveres. So why can't we do the same? We are supposed to love others, love our neighbors, but why do we only come together in the worst times? So have you ever thought about that? When something tragic happens, we come together as a community, which, don't get me wrong, is pretty amazing. It's stuff we can do together. But we go right back to being the version of ourselves that can be hateful toward others. We just go back to being ourselves. But what about that time that we were being pretty amazing as a community? Now, I'm not trying to call anybody out, because I'm also guilty of myself. I really am. I just don't think of certain things, and then when something happens, I'm like, wow, why wasn't I doing that before? But we do need to realize that maybe there's a reason we're all lonely. We were actually created to interact and be around people. So where did we go wrong? Why is it so hard to spend quality time with people that matter? So I don't know if any of you have ever taken the love languages test, but mine is quality time. I mean, I go over it's all over quality time. The other ones don't even matter. And so to me, I feel the most loved and the happiest when I'm spending quality time with my family and friends. That is what love does. Love does more than just affection. Love can be shown in the way that you encourage and support. I encourage those, I'm not trying to do a plug-in, but those who are not in small groups, to please join. Because if you're lonely, then you can open your heart to the possibility that you could find your people. I'm not talking about the people who only want to be around you when it's convenient for them, but the ones who will love and support you unconditionally, because that's what love does. Now, this recently Lent season, I was given the opportunity to write a devotion that would be published in the chapel's Lent devotion book. So if you were around last year, so freshmen, you probably won't know until next semester, but we do a Lenten devotion, which is really neat. And so it's kind of ironic that at that time in my life, I chose the topic reckless love. That word just keeps popping up everywhere. We keep talking about it. So I had this feeling that God is trying to tell me something. And I just knew that I needed to add this part into my message tonight because I think it still speaks to me today. So I want to read that Lenten devotion that I wrote back just several months ago. What is love? Can love ever be defined, or will it always be an interpretation among us? Whether or not you believe in the power of love, Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice of love for us, and we can use that example throughout our lives. Now, I'm not saying we need to die on a cross to show love, because Jesus already done that for us. But love takes sacrifice, because you are putting yourself before others by loving them for who they are. It takes vulnerability and trust to give and receive love to those around you. If you have not heard Reckless Love by Corey Asbury, I highly recommend you go listen to it immediately. I listen to the song on a daily, and anytime we sing in a chapel, I literally cry, because I just marvel at the depth of God's love for us. God sent his one and only Son to die for our sins, that we would not perish but have eternal life. Wow, is God just amazing or what? I believe we can do great things in the name of love, whether it be taking care of our family and friends or doing something for a stranger out of the kindness of our hearts. Love can be shown in more ways than one. However you decide to find your love, just continue looking toward Christ for the ultimate example. During this Lent season, I challenge you to not only focus on your relationship with Christ, but self-examine and reflect how you can give love to those around you. When I chose to take the next step and give my life to Christ, I would always look back at my favorite Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 13:13, says, "And now by the faith, hope, and charity. These three, but the greatest of these is charity." So in some versions of the Bible, instead of charity, they say love. So love is not just a word, but an action. Charity and love are intertwined by the action that it takes to love. How will you show love to your family and friends and even a stranger? So even a stranger. So I'm actually extremely proud of myself for that devotion, because I sent a picture of it to my stepdad, Kevin, because I just really wanted him to read it. I don't know what made me, I woke up that morning and was like, I just need to send this. That same day, he calls me, and he tells me, he goes, "You don't realize how much I really needed that devotion." He goes, I was like reading it, and he goes, the next I knew, I had to do a double take. He goes, your name was at the bottom. I was like, yeah, I wrote it. He goes, I couldn't, you don't realize what I'm going through right now. You know, it might sound like I don't talk to my parents. It was just, I hadn't really spoken to him a lot in that last few days, but he was just he was almost in tears, because it was what he needed at that moment. And wow. That day, though, changed something for me as well. I came to the realization that I couldn't take all the credit for that devotion. I really couldn't. I'm just a vessel that God used to shine a message through. And I think we need to realize that sometimes, that God is using us every day. And that sometimes we get caught in what Satan is saying. So instead of letting all of God in, we're not letting him in enough. And that's what I'm just trying to get through, is that because in the end, no matter what Satan says, God is love. God's love is real. God's love is different. It changes things. It brings hope where before there was only despair. It revives faith that feels lifeless. It makes it forward where there seems to be a dead end. It's active, it works, it risks. God's love does. So during my freshman year, God's love actually did more for me than I realized at that time. And so I have them stories just like a lot of people do their freshman year. I was very lonely. I had one best friend, and she was a commuter. So you can just tell how hard that was. So I really appreciated every moment we had to spend together. And then she would leave. And I'd be like, oh, yay. What am I going to do now? Because me and my roommate did not, we just didn't click. We got along, we had great talks, but we just didn't click. And at that time, we didn't actually have community groups like we do now. This is the first time we've done this. We had a thing called Salt and Light. It was a women's mentoring. And so I got the mentor, her name was Molly Smith. And I honestly, if it wasn't for her, I probably would have transferred after my freshman year. I actually already got transferred and was like, well, just gotta get out of UIndy and all that, and I'd already got accepted. So, but it was her, Molly Smith, that she guided me and supported me, and she loved me with like her whole heart, and I could tell. Her faith really pushed me because she believed in me when I did not believe in myself. I can tell you that. So she was not just a mentor, but she was a forever friend. And so I'm very thankful that I had Salt and Light because we hadn't had the community groups yet. So with her friendship, I strived to be the best that I could be. And I met more amazing people in the way, like Aubrey over here. So I did not realize at the time that Aubrey would be one of my closest friends. She's helped me through a lot, and I literally tell her everything, just like I would my other best friend Stevie, who's back home. I literally have told her every little part of my life, just like I have Aubrey's. And I can tell you that has taken a lot of love and patience from Aubrey, because like she's really accepted me for who I am, and I really appreciate her for that. And so I had to do the same. I had to give it and just trust. And a lot of us, I know trust is a lot. It's definitely difficult, but it took a lot of trust for me to reciprocate the love and patience she has shown me, and I think we need to do that with everybody. We just gotta have more grace, love, and patience, because we don't know what anybody's going through. We really don't. Everybody's going through their own things, and so, you know what? Love does those kind of things. God is love. And I will really throw this out that people have really been testing the Jesus in me lately. But does that mean I love them any less? Absolutely not. I will keep smiling and faking it till you make it, honestly, if you have to. So yeah, God taught us to love with all that we have because that's all He gave us it all. So before we go to response, I would really like to read this quote that I found recently. Just everything recently, I literally revised this saying like 100 times. Tonight, I finally, about an hour and a half before, got official to where I was like, okay, this is perfect. This is God telling me. This is what you need to say. This is what people need. So, you can't be friends with everyone, but you can notice everyone. You can make room for everyone. You can be kind and generous and thoughtful and sympathetic to everyone. You can smile at everyone. You can make eye contact with everyone. You can probably even offer a simple hello to everyone. And folks, that is what love does. Thank you.